Miranda never imagined that a chance encounter would unravel a dangerous conspiracy, one that threatens to destroy everything she loves. When shadows from her past collide with a secret that powerful people will kill to protect, she must choose: run and lose everything, or fight and risk losing her heart. But in a game where trust is a deadly gamble, can she survive long enough to uncover the truth? Or will the secrets she's hiding be her undoing? Miranda Blake never imagined herself setting foot inside the towering estate on Grayson Hill again. Not after everything that happened. The crumbling Victorian mansion with ivy crawling up its face and ancient cypress trees brooding over it held memories she'd buried with her mother 10 years ago. Now, a call from a lawyer had unearthed them. Her estranged grandmother, whom she'd never met, had died, leaving everything to her, including secrets Miranda had no idea existed. The drive from New York to the small town of Weatherby had been long, made heavier by the storm clouds that followed her. As she approached the wrought iron gates of the estate, the storm finally broke. Rain lashed against her windshield as the gates creaked open, almost beckoning her inside. She parked under the ancient portico. Her breath fogged the air as she stepped out, her boots splashing into puddles. The front door groaned open before she could knock. An older man, tall and lean, stood in the foyer. "Miss Blake? I'm Daniel, caretaker of Grayson House. Welcome home." "Home?" she muttered, brushing rain from her coat. "Hardly." He offered a knowing smile and stepped aside. The house smelled of old wood, lavender, and secrets. The estate was massive, ornate ceilings, a grand staircase, and portraits whose eyes seemed to follow her. Daniel gave her a tour, speaking little but always watching. He stopped in front of a door with elaborate carvings. "This was your grandmother's study. It remained locked for years. She asked that it only be opened by you." Miranda's fingers brushed the brass doorknob. Inside, the air was stale. A mahogany desk stood at the center, covered in dust. A single red journal sat in the middle. She opened it, expecting diary entries or financial records. What she found were symbols. Strange, circular ones, along with maps and references to something called the Warden's Pact. That night, Miranda couldn't sleep. Rain battered the windows. Shadows crawled across the walls. At exactly 3:12 a.m., she heard music. A piano, soft, mournful, and very much alive. She followed the sound through the hallways, barefoot and trembling. It led her to the east wing, sealed off by time and cobwebs. The piano stood alone in a forgotten ballroom, but no one was playing. A single cypress leaf rested on the keys. The next morning, she confronted Daniel. "Was anyone else in the house? Last night?" He hesitated. "No one but us." "I heard a piano. I followed it." "Don't lie to me." His eyes darkened. "Sometimes the house remembers. It grieves." His words chilled her. Miranda turned to leave, but he added, "There are things about your grandmother you should know. She wasn't just the last of the Grayson line. She was its guardian." Later that day, she visited Weatherby's town library. The elderly librarian, Mrs. Ambrose, seemed startled at Miranda's resemblance to someone from the past. "You look like Eliza Blake," she whispered. "Your grandmother. She used to come here, always checking out books on ancient societies, cryptography, and local legends." Miranda asked about the Warden's Pact. Mrs. Ambrose grew pale. "Old legend. They say it was a secret order, formed to protect something hidden in this region, something people died to keep safe." That night, the red journal glowed faintly under her lamp. One of the symbols shifted, and beneath it, in her grandmother's elegant cursive, appeared a line. "If you've come this far, Miranda, the pact has awakened. Trust no one. Not even him." Daniel became more evasive. Every time she brought up the journal or the pact, he changed the subject. Miranda began to suspect he knew more than he let on. While rummaging through the attic, she discovered a trunk, full of letters. They were addressed to her mother, Sarah. The postmarks ranged over decades. The letters spoke of warnings, dangers, and shadows moving beneath the estate. One name appeared often: the Watcher. She took the letters to Daniel. "You knew my mother, didn't you?" He nodded slowly. I was a boy when she left, but yes, we were all bound by the same blood, the same curse. What curse? He sighed. This land, this house, it protects something powerful, and your family was chosen to guard it. Eliza believed you would continue her legacy. Miranda shook her head. I didn't ask for any of this. No one does. But the pact chooses. And it never lets go. Rain fell again that night. Heavy. Thunder cracked the sky. Miranda wandered the gardens, drawn by an invisible pull. She found a cypress grove beyond the greenhouse. In the center, a stone well, sealed with iron. As she approached, the wind howled. The cypress branches reached like fingers. She touched the well, and visions assaulted her. A woman screaming. Flames are consuming the east wing. Daniel, younger, terrified, running through the woods. Her mother, standing over a grave. Miranda collapsed. When she awoke, Daniel carried her back inside. She clung to him, trembling. What is buried beneath that well? He looked away. The truth. Their eyes met. Something passed between them. Fear, longing, pain. He touched her cheek. You're not alone in this. I'll protect you. Always. His kiss was hesitant, but electric. But behind the passion, Miranda felt the old fear, because in her vision, Daniel had betrayed her. The relentless pounding of the rain against the window mirrored the tumult in Miranda's mind, as dawn reluctantly gave way to a cold, gray morning. Crescent Bay looked washed out beneath the heavy clouds, the sea a churning, restless expanse. She sat hunched over the old leather-bound journal she'd found among Nathan's things, her fingers tracing the faded handwriting as if touching the words might unravel their meaning. Nathan's disappearance was no accident. The longer she stared at the pages, the more she sensed a hidden urgency, a coded message buried beneath his frantic notes and sketches. The cipher he had scribbled was unlike anything she'd seen before, a series of interlocking symbols, some ancient-looking, others cryptic and modern, all connected with lines and arcs. Her chest tightened as she tried to focus, the weight of unanswered questions pressing down like a vice. Why had Nathan trusted her with this? Was it a plea for help or a warning? And above all, what secret was so dangerous that it could vanish a man without a trace? The shrill buzz of her phone sliced through the silence, jolting her back to the present. Daniel, take care of yourself. I'm here whenever you need. She exhaled, grateful for his steady presence even if he was miles away. Daniel's calm and unwavering support was the anchor Miranda desperately needed. But no matter how much she wanted to lean on him, she knew she had to solve this puzzle herself. Nathan's life, and perhaps her own, depended on it. Later that day, determination stiffened her resolve. Armed with the tin box Nathan had left behind and the fragment of the map hidden within, Miranda set out toward the outskirts of Crescent Bay. Cypress Manor had once been a jewel of the town. Now it was a relic, a haunting silhouette against the restless sky. The manor's iron gate groaned like a dying beast as Miranda pushed it open, stepping onto the overgrown path leading to the front steps. Vines strangled the cracked stone, and shattered windows stared like empty eyes. The manor whispered of forgotten secrets, and Miranda felt the oppressive weight of history press down on her. Her pulse quickened as she entered the grand foyer, the floorboards groaning underfoot. Dust motes floated in the shafts of fading daylight, and the air smelled of damp wood and mildew. She moved cautiously toward the staircase Nathan had referenced. Beneath a loose floorboard, she found a small rusted tin box. Her hands trembled as she pried it open, revealing a worn brass key and the fragment of an old map with symbols matching those in Nathan's cipher. Her breath hitched. This was his last lead. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the shadows behind her. Miranda. She spun, heart pounding fiercely, and saw Vanessa emerging from the gloom, eyes wide and strained. Vanessa, Miranda breathed, disbelief warring with a surge of relief. Vanessa's gaze flickered nervously. I didn't know who else to turn to. For years, their relationship had been a complicated dance of rivalry and resentment. But now, with Nathan gone, Vanessa's presence felt both a lifeline and a warning. "What are you doing here?" Miranda demanded, voice low and guarded. Vanessa swallowed hard. "I know what you're chasing. The truth about our family, about Nathan." Miranda's breath caught. "Why didn't you come to me sooner?" Vanessa hesitated, then met her, sister's eyes with unexpected honesty. "Because I was scared, and because I wasn't sure you'd believe me." Tension rippled through the room like an electric current, the fragile bond between them fraying and mending in the same heartbeat. "We don't have time to argue," Vanessa said, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's more at stake than just Nathan. Our father, he's hiding something terrible." Miranda's mind reeled. The idea that their father, the stern patriarch who had always controlled the family with an iron fist, was involved in Nathan's disappearance was almost too much to bear. Vanessa took a step closer, her voice urgent. "I found something. Files. Documents that Nathan was trying to expose. They're hidden inside the manor, in the old study." "But it's dangerous, Miranda. Whoever took Nathan is watching." With newfound alliance, the sisters ventured deeper into the manor, past rotting tapestries and crumbling plaster. They reached the study, a dusty room lined with ancient bookshelves and scattered papers. Vanessa retrieved a battered leather briefcase from a hidden compartment behind a loose panel. Inside were folders labeled with cryptic titles and photographs that sent a shiver down Miranda's spine. Among them were images of illegal dealings, land grabs, and shadowy figures meeting in secrecy. Their father's name appeared repeatedly. "How deep does this go?" Miranda whispered. "Farther than we imagined," Vanessa replied, voice trembling. Nathan stumbled onto a conspiracy involving powerful people who would kill to keep it secret. Miranda's mind raced. Was Nathan's disappearance just the beginning? Were they all in danger? As night fell, the manor seemed to close in around them. They heard distant footsteps and muffled voices beyond the walls. The sisters exchanged a glance, understanding. Without words, the hunters were near. Miranda's phone buzzed again, this time with an anonymous message. "Stop digging, or you'll be next." A cold dread settled in her stomach. The danger was real, immediate. But running was no longer an option. In the quiet moments that followed, Miranda and Vanessa shared stories long buried under years of bitterness. They spoke of their childhood, their fractured family, and the elusive Nathan, the brother who had vanished into shadows. Miranda found herself softening, a small flame of hope kindling amid the fear. "Maybe," Vanessa said quietly, "we can find him. Together." Miranda nodded, the weight of her loneliness lessened by the promise of sisterhood. That night, with the manor shrouded in silence, Miranda sat by the flickering light of an old lamp, studying the cipher anew. The map fragment, the key, and the documents all formed pieces of a deadly puzzle. Hours passed as she worked until finally, the code began to unravel. The symbols formed coordinates, an old shipwreck buried beneath the cliffs outside town, rumored to be cursed. Could Nathan's secret be buried beneath the waves? The storm raged outside, but inside, Miranda felt a fierce resolve. Tomorrow she would follow the trail. Whatever awaited her beneath the cliffs, the truth had to be found. Miranda and Vanessa explore the cliffside and dive into the shipwreck site to uncover Nathan's secret. A tense confrontation with shadowy enemies who want to stop them. Miranda's relationship with Daniel deepens amid danger and uncertainty, shocking revelations about their family's true legacy and the conspiracy. A final twist that leaves the story open-ended, maintaining the suspense. The storm had passed, but its fury seemed to linger in Miranda's heart. The dawn broke cold and pale over Crescent Bay, the cliffs jagged and foreboding beneath the drifting mist. Vanessa was already waiting at the edge of the rocky shore, her face pale but determined. "We don't have much time," she said, handing Miranda a waterproof satchel filled with supplies. "The tide will cover the entrance soon." Miranda nodded, her gaze fixed on the dark cavern carved into the cliff face, nature's hidden vault where Nathan's secret awaited. The descent was perilous, Each step along the slippery stones tested their courage, but they pushed forward, driven by hope and desperation. The salty spray stung their faces, and the sea roared beneath them like a beast guarding its treasure. Inside the cavern, the air was thick with dampness and the scent of ancient salt. Miranda's heart hammered as they found a narrow opening leading deeper underground, a submerged passage only accessible during low tide. With the help of a small flashlight, they waded through the freezing water, the darkness swallowing them whole. Pieces of rotted wood and rusted metal emerged from the shadows, resting like a ghost frozen in time. Amid the debris, Miranda's eyes caught a glint, a metal chest locked tight. Her hands shook as she pulled out the brass key Nathan had left behind. It fit perfectly. Inside, carefully wrapped in oilskin, lay Nathan's final notes, photographs, and a small USB drive. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from behind. "Thought you'd never make it." Daniel emerged from the darkness, his presence both a relief and a puzzle. "I followed you. Things are worse than I feared." Miranda's breath caught. "How much do you know?" "More than you think. I'm not just a friend. I've been working to uncover this conspiracy, too. But now they're after all of us." The sisters exchanged a glance, their fragile alliance now joined by Daniel's steady strength. Together, they pored over Nathan's notes on a portable device, revealing evidence of their father's involvement in illegal arms trading disguised under the family business. The deal went far beyond local corruption. It stretched into international shadows. Miranda's world shattered anew. Then, the ground trembled. Footsteps, angry voices, the unmistakable sound of boots on rock. "They found us." Daniel grabbed Miranda's hand. "We need to move. Now." As they fled the cavern, heart pounding, they realized the stakes were higher than ever. Their father's empire was built on lies, and their pursuit of truth had made them targets. In the quiet moments that followed, in the haven of Daniel's car, Miranda and Daniel shared a tender moment, a fragile bloom amid chaos. "I never thought I'd find love in the middle of a nightmare," Miranda whispered. Daniel smiled softly. Maybe that's when love matters the most. But just as hope flickered, a shadow loomed over their fragile peace. A final encrypted message from Nathan, sent moments before his disappearance, revealed a last secret, a betrayal closer than anyone suspected. The screen faded to black. The rain hammered against the city's skyline as I stood at the window of my downtown apartment, staring out, but seeing nothing. The past few weeks had been a whirlwind, a storm as brutal as the weather. Outside, tearing apart the fragile peace I'd fought so hard to build. Daniel's disappearance, the anonymous threats, the chilling discovery of the hidden surveillance, and now, the mysterious package left on my doorstep had me questioning every step I'd taken. The small box lay unopened on the kitchen table, wrapped in plain brown paper, tied with coarse twine. No return address, no note, just the heavy weight of something ominous inside. My phone buzzed. It was Detective Graves. "Miranda." His voice was low, urgent. "We found something. You need to come down to the station." I swallowed hard and grabbed my coat. If I thought I'd seen the worst, I was wrong. At the precinct, Detective Graves pulled out a folder, thick with files and photos. We traced the sender of the package. It was dropped off at a post office near the industrial district. Surveillance footage caught someone wearing a dark hoodie, but their face was obscured. He slid a photo across the table. My breath caught. It was a man. Tall, lean, with piercing eyes and a jagged scar slicing through his left cheek. "Do you know him?" Graves asked. I shook my head, though a flicker of recognition sparked. The scar was familiar, a face I had seen before but never thought I'd encounter again. It was connected to the deepest part of my past I'd tried to bury. "I think I need to see the package," I said, heart pounding. Back in my apartment, the air was thick with tension. I carefully untied the twine and peeled away the paper. Inside lay a small vintage music box. I hesitated but wound the key. A haunting melody drifted through the room, the same lullaby my mother used to sing to me as a child. The melody was beautiful but chilling, sending shivers down my spine. Underneath the music box was a folded piece of paper, yellowed and brittle. I unfolded it. The handwriting was elegant but shaky. You can't run from what's buried. The truth will find you. Look where the past and present collide. My hands trembled. What did it mean? What truth? And where? Suddenly, my phone buzzed again, this time a text message from an unknown number. Meet me where it all began. Midnight. Alone. My mind raced. Where it all began. That could only mean one place. The abandoned lighthouse on the outskirts of the city, the last place Daniel had mentioned before he vanished. The night was stormy, the wind howling as I drove to the lighthouse, heart in my throat. The city's lights blurred behind me, swallowed by darkness. I parked 100 yards away and approached cautiously. The lighthouse loomed like a ghost, windows broken, paint peeling, a skeleton of forgotten memories. As I stepped inside, the air smelled of salt and decay. Footsteps echoed behind me. Miranda. I spun around, breath catching. Daniel stepped out of the shadows, but his eyes were wild, desperate. I never wanted you to find out like this, he whispered. They're watching us. They've been watching you for years. Who, Daniel? Who's behind this? I demanded. Before he could answer, the floor beneath us creaked dangerously. Suddenly, the beam of a flashlight sliced through the darkness. Freeze! A voice barked. 2 men in black tactical gear stormed in. Daniel shoved me behind him. Run! He shouted. We darted through the narrow corridors of the lighthouse, footsteps pounding close behind. I stumbled, pain shooting up my leg, but Daniel helped me keep moving. We burst through a side door onto the rocky cliffs, rain soaking us instantly. The chase was relentless, the cold sea below roaring like a beast ready to swallow us whole. Just when I thought we were cornered, Daniel grabbed my hand, pulling me toward a narrow crevice in the rocks. Here, he gasped. We slipped inside, the darkness swallowing us. Hours later, we sat huddled in the cave, soaked and shivering. Daniel's eyes finally met mine, the weight of his confession breaking free. There's a secret buried in my family, Miranda. Something they'd kill. To protect. I listened as he told me about a decades-old conspiracy, a shadowy network of power brokers, corruption, and betrayals that tied my family's legacy to a dangerous game of greed. And the scarred man? I asked. Daniel's face darkened. He's the enforcer. He'll stop at nothing to silence us. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Another message, but this time from the scarred man himself. Tick-tock, Miranda. Your time is running out. The cave felt colder. The walls seemed to close in. Daniel pulled me close. We fight. Together. Days passed in a blur of whispered plans, secret meetings, and coded messages. Every shadow could be an enemy. Every stranger, a threat. Yet, amid the chaos, a fragile hope blossomed between Daniel and me. 2 broken souls clinging to each other in the darkness. Our bond deepened, but the danger escalated. I knew the showdown was coming, and this time, there might be no second chances. On a storm-lashed evening, Daniel and I stood on the roof of the city's tallest building, overlooking a city that hid secrets darker than the night. This ends. Now, he said, eyes fierce. As the first gunshot echoed, everything changed. But who would survive the night, and who could I truly trust? The truth is never simple, and sometimes the most dangerous secrets come wrapped in love. The first gunshot shattered the tense silence like glass breaking on stone. Daniel shoved me down, heart pounding like a war drum. The city's skyline blurred. Behind the rain, the storm raging as fiercely as the chaos unfolding around us. From the shadows, the scarred man emerged, cold, ruthless, and lethal. His dark eyes locked on us, a predator closing in on his prey. End of the line, Miranda, he hissed, raising his weapon. Daniel moved faster, tackling the man with desperate strength. The struggle was brutal, raw. I scrambled to my feet and grabbed a heavy metal pipe nearby, swinging it with all my might. The scarred man staggered back but recovered quickly, pulling a concealed knife. The fight became a deadly dance of survival. On the rooftop, rain slick underfoot, lightning flashing. I could barely breathe, caught between fear and adrenaline. Suddenly, a deafening explosion rocked the building's side. The scarred man lost his balance, falling over the edge, disappearing into the black abyss below. Daniel collapsed beside me, chest heaving, eyes locked on mine. "We're not safe yet," he said, voice trembling. "They'll come after us again." I nodded, tears mixing with rain. Days later, we met Detective Graves in a secret safe house. Together, we handed over the evidence Daniel had collected, documents linking the shadowy network to powerful people in the city's elite. As the investigations unfolded, arrests were made. The conspiracy was dismantled, piece by piece. 1. Quiet evening, standing on my apartment balcony, Daniel took my hand. "We made it through the storm," he said softly. I smiled, feeling the fragile peace settling between us. Together. But as the city lights twinkled below, my phone vibrated with a new message. From an unknown number. "You think it's over? The game has just begun." I looked at Daniel, heart pounding. Some secrets never die.